after the 11th September, the U.S. exit from Afghanistan, what will happen for the Afghan people, in your idea?
It depends. I think what's going to happen over the short term, there's going to be a massive, there's the possibility of a massive civil war. And that's the worst thing we can hope on the Afghan people, who I care so much about. But I believe, and a civil war is much different than an insurgency in many respects. But, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when people asked me how many Taliban foot soldiers were in Afghanistan, I gave them the pat answer of about 25,000. But back in November of 2018, the New York Times published that not only the U.S. and Kabul was going to classify the size of the ANDSF and their casualty rates. That should tell you something. That's a real tell. But they also suggested in the same article that the Taliban had between 65 and 75,000 soldiers in country. And what I've heard from my contacts in Afghanistan, that they're basically suggesting to me there are about 65,000 Taliban in the country. And these are hardened fighters. And my great fear is that the ANDSF and the the ANP, which is an extractive organization, as you know, they're not all bad, but a large number of them are bad and hated by the Afghan people. And so they're going to be basically useless in fighting the Taliban. But the ANA, has some good units, but will they be able to hold on for the long term? There's a possibility that it could be just like Vietnam. The Vietnamese had a 500,000 professional army with a tremendous air force. None of that exists, and they disappeared 6 days after the United States finally evacuated Vietnam in April of 1975. This, I hope it doesn't happen, but the same thing could also happen in Afghanistan. With the number of Taliban that are in country, you could see, except for some units, just disappear into the woodwork. That's another great fear I have. But only time will tell.